friends, and welcome back to Read Aloud with me, Miss Cope. Today is Thursday, and it's May 14th, and I am glad to be right back here with you again to listen to our Read Aloud. I hope yesterday you had some time to relax or had some time to catch up on your work. I can't wait to see you all for a morning meeting and see you for our writing class today, so I'm excited about that. But for now, we are reading It Ain't So Awful Falafel, and it's by Feroze Dumas. We left off last time on the chapter titled Halloween. I wonder what this chapter will be about. All right, before I know it, it's Halloween, my favorite holiday in the whole world. This will only be my third one. I am so bummed that I have missed celebrating at least 4 Halloweens in my life because we didn't live in America. The closest thing we have in Iran is the one night during the Persian New Year when we go door to door and people give out ajil, which is a mix of nuts and dried fruits. That's it. Nuts and dried fruit at every house. I used to think it was fun until I experienced Halloween. It's like thinking seesaws are fun until you go on a roller coaster. Kids in Iran would love Halloween. Actually, every kid in every country in the world would love it. If you're a kid and you don't like Halloween, well, that's just not possible. Carolyn has asked me to go trick-or-treating in her neighborhood. Rachel is invited too. Rachel's going to be a cat, and Carolyn says her costume is a surprise. I'm going to be a hobo and wear my dad's old jacket and put brown makeup on my cheeks to make them look dirty. I will also tie a scarf on a broomstick, fill it with socks, and swing that over my shoulder. It's supposed to hold all my worldly belongings since I don't have a home, just like the hobos in the American movies I saw in Iran. I make the mistake of telling my mom about my costume. Now that she isn't giving me the silent treatment because of the pool key, she won't stop bossing me around. I wish Skip had waited until after Halloween to find it. My mom says I should wear a nice dress and she will put makeup on me like Ray Tahevort. That's my mom's favorite American actress, even though she's from 1,000 years ago. My mom does not comprehend that it is now 1978 and hobos are way more popular than Rita Hayworth. When they were teenagers, my mom and her sisters collected black and white photos of American movie stars. They thought these actresses were the most glamorous women in the world, and they wanted to be just like them. My mom still has the photos in her top drawer. Unfortunately, my mom does not understand that A, I will never look like Rita Hayworth, no matter how much makeup she puts on me, and B, that is possibly the worst costume in the history of Halloween. She says, why would a girl want to dress up like a beggar? I tell her that everyone here tries to have funny or scary costumes, and dressing as a hobo in Newport Beach is not the same thing as being a beggar in Iran. Ma man, I say, trying to explain the difference. Living like a hobo is a lifestyle. A hobo hangs out near the train tracks, sharing his 1 can of beans with his hobo friends, while another strums the banjo, singing sad songs from the heart. Hobos hop on the train without paying, going from town to town looking for work, and they don't mind having grime on their faces because they have each other in their dreams. Wow, being a hobo doesn't sound too bad. Crazy beggars, she said, shaking her head. It's just a Halloween costume, I remind her. My mother looks very disappointed. It's as if she's confusing Halloween with career day. I finally realize there is nothing that will make her understand she's upset, but what can I do? I'm going as a hobo anyway. I asked my parents if they are planning to give out candy or keep the lights off and pretend to not be home. My dad says they're leaving the lights on, but that he bought miniature boxes of raisins, since kids in America eat too much candy. I certainly hope no one figures out where I live. I don't want to be remembered as the girl whose family handed out dried fruit. In 2nd grade, my first year in America, all the kids came to school on Halloween wearing their costumes except me. The class was filled with cowboys, ghosts, princesses. I felt so bad being the only one who didn't know about this. When you move here, no one gives you an instruction sheet on what happens during holidays. I liked the costumes, especially the ghosts, but there was no way my mom would have ever let me make holes in bed sheets for the eyes. Plus, all of our sheets had flowers on them, and who's ever heard of a floral ghost? Then right before lunch, Mrs. Hensley, who was really a nice mom, who also helped in the classroom, told me to go outside in the hall with her for a minute. She tied a handkerchief around my head, gave me a bunch of bracelets, wrapped a long skirt around me, and said I was a hippie. I didn't know what a hippie was, but I was so happy that I had a costume, because after lunch the whole school paraded around the basketball court. That's what Tennessee Williams meant when he wrote about the kindness of a stranger. If Mrs. Hensley hadn't bought me that outfit, my costume would have been sad kid from foreign country. I thought the costume parade at school was all there was to Halloween. We had only been in America for a couple of months and had no clue about trick-or-treating. My English wasn't great back then, so even if the kids had been talking about it, I wouldn't have understood. That night, when the first group of kids rang our doorbell, we had no idea what they wanted. My parents just told them their costumes were cute, but the kids stood there staring at us, and finally one of them said, "Where's the candy?" We didn't have any candy, so we gave out all the apples, oranges, and bananas we had. When we ran out of fruit, we gave out pickling cucumbers. Iranians always have massive amounts of little cucumbers in their houses. If there is ever an emergency that requires huge amounts of small cucumbers, Iranians will be instant heroes. But I don't want to think about our first sad Halloween anymore. Tonight, my father is going to drive me to Carolyn's house. I go upstairs to get ready. I put on my dad's coat, roll up my jeans a little bit, grab my stick with the bundle attached to it, and spread some of my mom's brown eyeshadow on my cheeks. I know she wouldn't want me to touch her makeup, so I only use a little bit. I go to the garage as fast as I can to avoid my mom, but still she sees me. "There's something on your face," she yells as I run past her. "Okay," I answered. That's practically the most important part of my costume. Hobos' faces are always dirty in the movies. "Nice costume," my dad says as I get in the car. He's been sitting there listening to the radio. "Are you dressed as a father? And there's something on your face." "No, I'm a hobo like in the movies." Thankfully, he goes back to listening to the news, so our conversation stops. That's all he's been doing since the president of Egypt and the prime minister of Israel won the Nobel Peace Prize. On the way there, he says, "What a year. Egypt and Israel found peace, although Jimmy Carter should have won the Nobel too. Anyone can destroy a bridge, but it takes great people to build one. Zomorod, always remember 1978. This is a great year." As soon as we enter the gates of Harborview Hills, I am 100% sure that I will always remember 1978. This is a great year indeed. The neighborhood looks like the haunted house ride at Disneyland. Every house is decorated to the max. Some people have set up entire graveyards on their lawn. There are life-size monsters on porches and ghosts and skeletons hanging from trees and carved pumpkins everywhere, and not just one per house. When we arrive at Carolyn's, I jump out of the car, saying goodbye as I slam the door. Thankfully, my dad, likes Carolyn, so he's letting me go trick-or-treating without him for the first time. The Williamses' front door is now decorated with a wreath of orange flowers. 2 seconds after I rang the bell, Carolyn answers, takes one look at my plastic pumpkin-shaped bag that I just bought at Savon's, and hands me a pillowcase. "I knew you'd have one of those useless pumpkin bags. They're way too small for a heavy-duty trick-or-treating," she explains. In Compton, I went trick-or-treating for the first time in 3rd grade. I didn't have a costume, so I put on an apron, grabbed a spoon, and went as a mom. It was stupid, but that wasn't even the worst part. I was only allowed to go trick-or-treating on our street with my dad in every house. And after every house, he'd say, "I think that's enough. He just wasn't comfortable with the idea of going to strangers' houses and asking for candy. I was. Now that I think of it, that is a strange idea. But it's our culture, and it's a holiday, and we get to celebrate it, and it's fun, and there's candy. So why not? After Carolyn gives me the pillowcase, she shows me her costume, which she hasn't put on yet. It's a box of Arm & Hammer baking soda. I don't know what that is, but it looks real and all the lettering is even and perfect. Her mom and dad made it with her, she tells me. Every year we try to do something unprecedented, which means something that no one else has done. Next year, I suggest you should dress like a dictionary because you are one. That's a good idea, she says. Rachel arrives right after me, and her costume is really cute. She has a black leotard, cat makeup, ears, and a tail. Carolyn has already planned our route. We start trick-or-treating on our side of the street, then go across. We walk as fast as we can. Sometimes we run. Carolyn was right. This is heavy duty. An hour into trick-or-treating, I have among my treasure trove 9 full candy bars. I've never gotten even one full candy bar in Compton. I didn't even know people handed those out. The neighborhood is full of kids, mostly dressed as masked monsters and vampires, running from house to house. The little ones have parents with them, and even the parents are dressed up. It's really exciting being without an adult. It's not scary, even after it gets dark. We trick or treat for 2 hours. Our pillowcases are completely full by the time we stop. At almost every house we visited, someone said, Arm & Hammer baking soda, that is the best costume and such a cute cat. Then they turned to me and, what are you dressed as? I'm just a hobo down on my luck, living by the train tracks, sleeping under the bridge, I explained. They just looked confused. You know, like in the movies, that's nice, they said. Looking even more confused. Maybe the American Hobo movie I saw in Iran weren't all popular here. My mom was right. I should have gone as Rita Hayworth, or maybe a floral ghost. Okay, I'm going to stop it there today because it's the end of the chapter. And the next chapter is quite long, so we'll do that tomorrow. The next chapter is called Poo Poo. Can't wait. I wonder what it's about. So we continue to learn about Iranian culture, right? The Persian New Year, they go to their neighbors' houses and homes, and they hand out nuts and fruits. That is super cool. Also, it isn't uncommon for an Iranian family to have miniature pickles. And also we learned that in Iran, they don't celebrate Halloween. And unfortunately, when Zomorod first came to America, she had no idea about Halloween, so she was left out at school. But the kindness of a stranger, yet again, helped her out. I love that, to think that there are people out there who will just do things out of the kindness of their heart to people they don't even know. And that is very hopeful. That gives me hope for the world. So I challenge you, do something nice for the people in your home. Since we aren't outside, we're in quarantine, we're not talking to people. Instead of doing something for a stranger, maybe do something nice for people in your home. Do something nice for your mom, do something nice for your dad, your siblings, aunt, uncles, anybody. It could be a smile, or it could just be saying something nice about them. So that is your challenge today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for always showing up. I will see you tomorrow. We're almost to Friday. Hang in there, kiddos. And toodles.